Hello everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for waiting. We were supposed to have another guest, Melania, but she has had some issues with her train. So maybe she will jump in the conversation at some point, maybe not. We don't know yet. So sorry if I check my phone at some point. But yeah, so we're gonna start. So this talk is going to be about underground techno and how the Berlin scene is doing, evolving at the moment. And to talk about this, I am with Introversion, aka Julius. Hi, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Hello.
And so we're going to jump right in with some definition, maybe, of what we mean by our subject, underground techno. We often oppose mainstream to underground and kind of define underground by opposition to mainstream. Is this a definition that you would agree upon, or how would you define the underground scene in Berlin?
I think for me, there is a difference between the mainstream techno scene and the underground techno scene, but it goes it mixes up a little bit. So you can't say this is underground and this is mainstream. For myself, it feels like everything is underground that most of my friends don't know. So for me, this is more of an underground. But I don't like the definition of if you're an underground artist, you are not allowed to earn money with that, or you're not allowed to do anything else. So. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about how famous it is in a way, like how well known. It's not about the, like, is it about the style as well, or the people, or the values, or the functioning? How is it for you? Like certain values, maybe?
Certain
values of the underground?
For me, it has to do with the attitude of the people, because it's hard to say, but on more of a mainstream electronic music events or techno events, there are things happening that don't usually happen on underground events, like people are aggressive, or people have like homophobic attacks and stuff, and that's things that usually don't happen at underground events. That's why I really like these kind of parties more than these, I call it mainstream events, but I don't want to drop names right now. So for me, it's a lot about the attitude and the people that are there because of the music and not of the show or of the event.
All right. So now that we know what we are talking about, we're going to talk a bit about the evolution, the situation of the scene right now. How is the underground techno scene doing in Berlin today? Can you see some trends in the scene that you would like to talk about?
So for me, I always start like this. Sorry. In my opinion, it's going to getting more fast, more hard, less groovy, less of feeling to it, but more of really, really hard and fast music. But I can only speak for myself, enjoying the Berlin techno scene for maybe 6 to 7 years. So what happened before, I don't really know. I only know it from friends or documentaries and stuff. For me, the scene changed a lot to this really, really hard and fast stuff.
Yeah, I come from the Paris scene, and I would say that it's quite the same. Like there's this, everything goes towards this genre, and it's kind of hard in Paris to find some events that are.
But also in, especially in Paris and France, it's like things coming back from the 2000s, early 2000s, like this really cheesy trance stuff.
Exactly.
A lot of cheesy vocal stuff that I also like. It's not like that, but it feels like it's getting too much at the moment.
I do agree. I do agree. It was fun for a while, but now it's starting to be a lot. I was wondering if COVID as well has had an impact on this evolution of the scene that we're talking about. Did you see a difference? Maybe let's start with during COVID. What was the evolution there? Did you see any differences in how the scene was working?
In the beginning, it felt like everybody was thinking the same. Like, okay, we have to stop the parties right now. We have to protect ourselves and all the other people. But pretty fast, I recognized that there is still a lot of events happening, but illegally. And you saw a lot of people attending these events because they only have this one thing that they really do. So if it falls away, they don't know what to do. And on the one side, I can fully understand that, so I won't blame anybody for that. It was the same for me when all the events started or stopped, so got cancelled and postponed again. I was really angry and thought, come on, I need that. But in the end, I think I found out that I can have lots of weekends without parties, and I'm still there. So I think my mindset changed a little bit due to COVID.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So that would mean that the impact was more on the people themselves and how they approach the scene rather than the genre. So that's how you see it, a change in mindset. Have you seen that in others?
I can always only talk for mostly myself and the bubble I'm living in, but in this bubble, the mindset changed a lot for the people. Also, right now, or a few weeks and months back, when events started again, it for me and my friends, it always felt weird to be at a party, and I think a lot of people just went right into it again, like nothing happened. But for me, it was really weird, and still is.
So would you say that there's a before and an after COVID that you can really see, be it on the attitude of the people, or we talked about drugs consumption as well when we were talking a bit before this panel.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you see before and after COVID in the scene?
Before, or it's better like that. Now the events that started again, it feels for me like the drug abuse is going a little higher, or specifically for a few people that I don't know if they still have it really good under control, especially for G. That's a big topic in the scene right now. G abuse and people getting this in a drink and have to leave the event because they lose the control over their body and mind. And I also already because you only hear about it a lot, but you don't you're not near to that. So I already know a few friends that got something in their drink, and that never, or maybe it didn't happen that lot before. And right now it feels like every party has at least one or two people that have to leave because of this.
Would you have any explanations for this phenomenon? Do you think it's a lack of security or a change in the mindset of people? Like, why is it happening now?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean
that's
no
a hard question. I don't
that.
have the answer myself, but
Maybe the ones that are putting something in your drink, these are the ones that can't talk to anybody without. I don't know. No, it's really hard.
All right. And do you see a before and after in the approach to the music as well? We've been talking about the mindset of people, but do you see a change in the genre? We've talked about it getting faster, harder. Do you think that COVID has accelerated this change?
Only for not for everybody. So I also see a lot of people are going back to their selves a little more, producing different stuff than techno, like electro, ambient music, also pop music. I got a lot of stuff. But when the parties started again officially, it felt like, okay, nothing really changed. Only people playing even harder and faster than before. For myself, I tried to just do different approaches, and it didn't work out all the time. But at some points, it felt like it was good to I don't know how to say it in English, but come back to myself a little more, produce stuff I really enjoy, except for techno, for on the floor techno.
So, yeah, so it granted you more liberty to explore some stuff that maybe you didn't have the time to explore when the scene was going on and not being on mute because of COVID.
Yes,
so
right.
That might be a positive aspect.
Yes, yes.
Moving on to you as an artist within this scene, do you think that you have to position yourself as belonging to a certain scene? Is there a pressure to accept and act within certain codes and rules? Did you feel this on your artistic career?
When I started, I really felt this. I felt like I have to do drugs. I have to wear this certain really black stuff only, and I have to attend events that I don't really liked, but I had to be there and stuff like this. But the pressure I always thought coming from everybody around me wasn't coming from people around me. I did it myself. So you don't really have to do this. And when I stopped trying to convince to be somebody else, the career really started. So when I try to just do the stuff I really like and don't go to events of DJs playing that are really cool in the scene, but I don't enjoy. That was the point when it really got good for me.
Was there also a pressure to be presenting in a certain way on social media? And how did you get out from this, if there was this?
It felt like you had to have a really good presentation on Instagram, do funny stories, do pictures with other cool people. I just got out of this because, or not really out, I just reduced it to this point that I really enjoy it. Yeah. Because I don't have the pressure to be someone I don't feel like. And at some point it also bored me, the whole Instagram thing and Facebook. It's just sometimes it's really cool because you can reach a lot of people with your music and your ideas, but it can also be extremely toxic, and I don't want this to not define, but this to be that
have such an impact on your
impact. Yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Impact on my life.
Yeah. So I assume that now that you're saying that you're being more genuine and true to yourself, and and not to what people expect of you, or what you think that people expect of you, I assume that it must be very liberating and freeing. How has your style evolved since your uh, being more true to yourself as an artist?
It got more diverse. So in the beginning, I had these few tracks that got really, really popular, and I thought, okay, I still really like them, but at this point, I thought, okay, you have to do exactly this. You have to stay in this style of music, and you always have to do um, this kind of tracks, but always a little different. But also, it got really boring, and it didn't work out too. So I started to do different stuff, different genres, but always with my signature um, drumming and synths and the overall sound design. And right now, I just do always the same. That I do different stuff, and you can feel it to yourself. If you get really bored in the studio producing a track, then maybe you should just stop it and do something completely different.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Mm.
Um, Talking about the scene and the evolutions, like the trends that we've been talking about, it going faster and everything. Can you see some opportunities as well from those trends? Because you seem to say that it's quite like not quite what you want to do, but are there some opportunities then to take from it, from those evolutions?
The opportunities are, it's like two opportunities. You go exactly this style and maybe are really, really, you make a career of it, but I don't know how long it lasts. Or you just don't do exactly this thing and do the things you really love, and try to convince people with your music and not with the hype.
What would be your tips to be truer to yourself than within this scene and not feel the pressure to conform? Do you have some tips on that for producers?
I have, but I think everybody knows. Don't listen to people that think they know the most. Just listen to yourself, and if it doesn't work, then try something different. But always stay true, stay old school.
So the scene is evolving in a certain way. Are there some changes that you would like to see implemented? Are there some things that you think are missing, be it in terms of values, of people's behavior, of the genre that people listen to? Like, there's some things that you would like to see.
Of course, there are, but most of them are already there. So people are mostly in the clubs are really nice to each other. If not, then maybe you're in the wrong venue or at the wrong party. I don't know. I would love to see the that the scene goes back from this really, really heavy commercializing that's happening right now back to you attend the event because of the music and not of the big names. But that's mostly also the events that I don't really attend. So I don't know if you go there, if the people are also that nice and caring to each other, then they're where I go to.
You're talking about big names. This made me think about how one of the impact of COVID might be that we are focusing more on booking smaller artists, but local artists. Do you see this as a trend in Berlin? Because I would say this is a trend in Paris, but I'm wondering how it is here.
You can also see the trend to go booking more small, or small is always a bad word, not well-known artists, and also a lot of women getting booked right now that are just don't get the attention they really deserve. and that's nice to see. But it's not everywhere. It's only in a few clubs that it's happening, and the big events don't give a shit about this too.
Would you say that the underground is giving more opportunities to less well-known artists to develop themselves? Then, I mean, is it the core of underground techno to give more opportunities to less well-known artists? Then,
Yeah, it should be, and most of the time it is, but not always. But it should be. It should be um, the reason, not the reason, the sense of the underground to support um, upcoming artists and not well-known artists to experience these events.
I would like to question a bit this dichotomy that we often do, like this opposition between mainstream versus underground, and as if there was no in-betweens, and that the underground would be dying, and it's only mainstream now, and blah blah blah. How do you see the scene? Do you also believe there's a spectrum of in-betweens from mainstream to underground? And do you think that one is better than the other? Do you agree with this? Or what is your stance on this?
I think there is a lot of between the mainstream and the really underground techno, and I don't really know if I'm always if I'm really an artist of this true underground. I don't know.
But is there a true underground? Like, that's the question as well.
I think there is, but as the name says, maybe it's just happening and nobody knows.
Yeah.
Only the true underground knows. I don't think you can say one is better than the other, because if also with a big mainstream event you can make a lot of people happy, then why not? Why not? Just because I don't like this stuff and I don't really understand people going there, doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, so it's not only about, like, it can be about the quality of the music, but I think that you think that if people are happy, that's nice, is a very nice way to see things. Like, in the end, what we want is to make people dance and enjoy the night, right?
Exactly, yes.
Looking forward, how do you think that people can support the scene? What would be your best ways in which one can help?
The best way is to attend small events, support your local parties. Also, not only in Berlin, there's a lot of stuff happening in small cities and small clubs. And I played a lot in like really small venues, and it's for them it's really expensive to do something like this, and they work for weeks and months for that, and then there's only 20 people attending and they say, oh, it's boring, I go. Support your local clubs and your crews, and don't buy on Beatport maybe.
So yeah, I was actually wondering if you had been in contact with other underground scenes. Of course you have, but like we've been talking about Berlin a lot, but how is the underground elsewhere? Do you see the same patterns, or are there some specificities, also some examples from your experience that you would like to talk about?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, that's a very right question.
You see this trend to the hard and fast music nearly everywhere, but there are a lot of parties and clubs that don't do this. And I think a good example is maybe the OKA, Objekt Klein A in Dresden. They do really nice parties, and it's a really nice, caring crew. And they're struggling right now again really hard because the politicians or the politics in Saxony suppress the parties again because of COVID, of course. and they always supported their local artists, have a really good sound system, and care really, really, really about the people that come inside the club, that they all feel good and feel safe, and it's about the music right there. So that's one example I know right now.
All right.
But there are more.
I think it's very nice that you're saying that you're playing in smaller venues with 20 people.
That's not the rule.
On what ground, like, what do you look at when you accept? Like, that's not in my paper, but like, on what ground do you accept to play somewhere? Then, what do you look for in a date?
I'm in the really, really, really good position that I don't do this myself, and I know my booker really well. It's a close friend, and I just believe his expertise 100%. And if he says don't go there, don't play there, I don't do. And if he says that would be good, I do this. Also, I wouldn't be here if he didn't tell me go there. It's good.
All right. Well, thank you. I will thank him then for accepting that you come. I'm kind of at the end of my questions, so it's going to be a bit shorter than it would have been if we had another guest. But thank you so much for answering. Your answers were really nice and interesting. Now we can move on to some questions, maybe. If you have some questions that you would like to ask, feel free to ask them down. Yes.
What is the best way for a newcomer or someone who wants to get into the scene to take a foot in the right direction? Just like, I mean, obviously, being there is obviously one thing, but also is there a way to like push your music to certain kind of small communities to get feedback and stuff? Is there anything out there in the scene? I will try to repeat the question. How to get into the scene, or how do you how to get in touch like with how to get in touch with the scene is one thing, but also like is there like any open space for people to just perform? Okay, I don't really know. When I started with music, I just tried to contact people that I know doing events or making music themselves, and then it went by itself. So you have the music speak for it, but of course I'm pretty sure there are events like that, and I know my little brother is always joining a Discord channel with a lot of not that well-known artists, but a few of them, and they just send each other feedbacks, joining events together, have dinner and stuff. So maybe something like this is a chance. Would try that.
And I think it's also a good tip to newcomers, what you said about how being true to yourself on social media and also in your productions was helpful for your career to kind of take off, because you just were being yourself. And I don't know if you would say that is a tip to newcomers, but I felt it that way. Do you agree?
Yeah, of course.
All right.
I hope that answered your question.
Are there any other questions? All right. Well, if they come up after, don't hesitate to come to us at the end. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again for accepting the invitation. Thanks to your booker.
Thank you very much.
And have a great rest of the afternoon and enjoy some nice talks. That's all I can wish for you. Thank you.